Slow progress isn't failure, it's the price of becoming unstoppable. The silent war no one sees. You think you're failing because progress feels slow, because no one notices, because after months or even years of effort, the reflection in the mirror still looks the same. But what if the silence surrounding your progress isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? Every person who ever became unshakable walked through this silence. The invisible part of the journey where no one claps, no one validates, and nothing seems to move. It's here, right here, where strength is forged. The world praises breakthroughs, but breakthroughs are born in obscurity. They don't happen when you're seen, they happen when you're still invisible. You've been told that progress must be fast, loud, and visible to count. But that belief is what destroys most people. It makes them quit when life goes quiet, when the results don't match the effort. Yet those who keep walking, those who accept the silence as part of the process, they're the ones who evolve, because they understand that slow progress isn't failure, it's the price you pay for mastery. The mind resists this truth. It wants quick validation, proof that the effort matters. It compares, measures, and judges. It whispers that maybe you're not meant for this, maybe others are just built differently. But slow progress is not proof that you're weak. It's evidence that you're still fighting, you're still showing up, you're still choosing the path most people abandon. Every repetition that feels meaningless is refining you. Every day you stay disciplined, despite fatigue, is solidifying your character. Every moment you want to give up but don't is the exact moment your future self is being built. The world can't see it yet, but deep within you, something unbreakable is forming. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are being tested. Life is asking, can you stay committed when there's no applause? Can you keep building when no one is watching? Because that's what separates the temporary from the timeless, the ones who do it for attention from the ones who do it for transformation. Slow progress is the invisible battle between who you are and who you're becoming. And when you learn to love that battle, to embrace the slowness as the crucible that shapes your strength, you stop chasing speed. You start building power, quiet power, the kind that can't be taken away. So don't despise the days when nothing seems to move. Don't curse the pace of your growth. Every great transformation begins with a long period of stillness, a pause before the breakthrough. What looks like stagnation is often the soil of your evolution, because the roots always grow before the fruit appears. The silence around you is not empty, it's alive with potential. Stay in it long enough, and you'll realize that slow progress was never your enemy. It was your initiation. You live in a world that celebrates speed, fast success, fast results, fast recognition. Every scroll, every post, every metric teaches you to measure worth by visibility. You start believing that if people can't see your growth, it doesn't exist. But that belief is a trap. It keeps you chasing attention instead of mastery. The truth is, your brain has been conditioned for quick validation. Every small spike of praise releases dopamine, creating the illusion of progress. But real progress is often invisible, silent, and unrewarded. It doesn't feed your ego, it tests your endurance. That's why so many people quit before they ever become great. They mistake the absence of applause for the absence of growth. Slow progress feels unbearable because it forces you to confront yourself. Without external proof, you're left with only your thoughts, your doubts, and your discipline. And that's where the real battle begins. You're not fighting time. You're fighting your own craving for immediate confirmation. The addiction to visible wins has made patience feel like punishment, when in truth, it's the foundation of power. Those who break free from this addiction learn something most people never do, that delayed gratification isn't delay, it's construction. Every unseen effort is stacking future momentum, brick by brick. Every unnoticed discipline is rewriting your mental code. You're not standing still, you're stabilizing, you're not falling behind, you're learning to move without needing an audience. The reason slow progress hurts is because it doesn't mirror the pace of the world. It mirrors the pace of your evolution. The world rewards appearances, discipline rewards truth, and truth takes time. You can't rush identity, you can't fast-forward wisdom, you can't buy consistency. These are earned through stillness, repetition, and resistance. You don't grow by proving yourself to others. You grow by proving to yourself that you can keep going when no one cares. That's the threshold most people never cross. They abandon the process before it transforms them. But those who stay, the few who can handle invisibility, become dangerous. Because once you no longer depend on external validation, you become free. And freedom is where unstoppable growth begins. So ask yourself, are you addicted to being seen, or are you addicted to becoming? Because you can't have both. The moment you stop chasing visible wins and start valuing silent ones, your pace may stay slow, but your power will multiply. You'll stop competing with timelines and start mastering your direction. The world may not see your effort today, but your discipline sees it, your future sees it, and one day when results finally surface, you'll realize they weren't sudden. They were accumulating in the dark all along. True strength is not built in public. It's built in silence, in moments no one will ever see, when you keep going, despite having every reason to stop. The hidden work is not glamorous, it's not rewarded, it's not posted. But it's the only kind that matters, because it's where character is carved and discipline is proven. The human mind is drawn to visible milestones, the transformation photo, the medal, the moment of recognition. But these are not the source of greatness. They are only reflections of what was already formed in secret. The weight you lift when no one's watching, the extra hour you put in when you're exhausted, the quiet decision to stay consistent when everything in you screams for rest. Those are the moments that shape the unshakable. There's a paradox about slow progress. The slower it feels, the deeper it builds. Fast results often collapse because they were built on excitement, not endurance. But slow, deliberate work digs roots so deep that nothing can uproot them. The mind resists this stage because it's humbling. You have to accept being unseen, being misunderstood, being underestimated. You have to train without applause, improve without reward, and believe without evidence. That's what separates those who chase motivation from those who live by discipline. The hidden work doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. It teaches you to detach from validation and find peace in effort itself. It forces you to confront your excuses, your distractions, your fear of mediocrity. Every day you show up despite doubt, you train your will to override emotion. You build trust in yourself, and that trust becomes a weapon. In the noise of modern life, people confuse visibility with progress, but the most powerful growth happens when no one notices. Think of nature. The roots grow in darkness long before the leaves meet the sun. A storm can strip a tree of its branches, but if the roots are deep, it stands again. Your hidden work is your root system. No one sees it, but it's what keeps you alive when everything else falls apart. This is why the strongest people are often the quietest. They've learned to draw energy from process, not praise. They've stopped performing progress for others and started living it for themselves. They don't need to announce their grind. Their results eventually do the talking. The irony of slow progress is that it builds speed later. The foundation becomes so strong that what once felt impossible becomes effortless. So if you're in that stage now, working in silence, doubting your steps, questioning your pace, know this: you are in the most important phase of your evolution. This is where you're earning what can't be taken from you. Strength built in silence can't be broken by noise. The hidden work is your transformation in motion. Unseen but unstoppable. Keep showing up, keep refining, keep becoming. Because one day, what you built in silence will speak louder than anything you could ever say. There comes a point in every journey when effort stops producing results. You do everything right, but nothing moves. The workouts feel heavier. The work feels endless. The motivation fades. This is the friction zone, the space between intention and breakthrough, where most people quit. It's the stage where your faith in the process is tested, not your ability. In this zone, everything inside you screams for an exit. Your mind tries to bargain, maybe this isn't worth it, maybe it's not meant to be. But that's not truth, that's resistance. The human mind fears sustained effort without reward because it exposes the truth about who's in control, your emotions or your discipline. And it's in that quiet tension that transformation happens. Not the kind you can post, but the kind that alters the core of who you are. This is the stage where consistency becomes sacred. Every repetition when you're uninspired, every hour you work in doubt, every morning you rise despite fatigue. These moments form the backbone of resilience. The friction zone strips away illusion. It separates desire from devotion. It's the point where doing it when it's easy stops, and doing it because it matters begins. Most people never pass through this threshold. They interpret resistance as a sign to stop, when in truth it's a signal that growth is near. The mountain always fights hardest before the summit. The resistance you feel is not punishment, it's refinement. It's the process testing whether you deserve what you're asking for. The friction zone isn't glamorous. There's no applause here, no visible progress, no validation. But this is where your future self is watching. Every time you endure without reward, you're teaching yourself that your worth isn't conditional on outcomes. You're training your spirit to keep its promise, even when life doesn't keep its end of the deal. That's power, quiet, unshakable power. When nothing works, your emotions will try to take the lead. But emotions are unreliable guides. They come and go like weather. Discipline is the compass. It doesn't react, it stays true. Every day you stay on course in the storm, you move closer to mastery. You may not feel it, but something within you is aligning. Your will, your patience, your purpose. If you can survive this stage, you earn something rare, peace in the struggle. You stop demanding ease from life and start finding strength in endurance. You learn that the goal isn't to escape friction, it's to move through it until it no longer owns you. And once you reach that point, progress is no longer something you chase, it becomes something you embody. So, when nothing seems to work, when effort feels wasted, when you can't see the point, remember, this is the point. This is where transformation hides, waiting to see if you'll keep walking. Because those who persist through the friction zone don't just achieve goals, they outgrow limitations. There's a moment in every long struggle that feels like the breaking point, when you're certain that all your effort has gone nowhere. But what you can't see is that beneath the surface, the pressure is building. Progress often hides in stillness. Momentum doesn't always announce itself with movement. Sometimes it gathers quietly, disguised as repetition, fatigue, and doubt. You may not notice it yet, but the habits you've been shaping in silence are aligning like gears in a machine. Every decision to stay disciplined, every morning you rise despite resistance, every time you show up when no one is watching, that's momentum forming. It doesn't explode suddenly. It accumulates quietly, and then one day, it becomes unstoppable. Most people never reach this point because they confuse slowness with stagnation. They don't realize that transformation is an inside-out process, invisible, gradual, and patient. When you're training your mind to endure discomfort, when you're teaching your emotions to obey your purpose. You're rewiring yourself. The world won't see it yet, but you will feel it. The shift from needing motivation to embodying discipline. The turning point isn't when the results appear. It's when you stop needing them to keep going. That's when everything changes. The instant you stop chasing visible proof, your energy returns to you. You begin to move with a calm certainty, not because you've won, but because you've decided you can't lose. The mind quiets, the doubts fade, and a new rhythm emerges, one driven not by reward, but by conviction. This is the essence of momentum. It's the compounding effect of small, consistent actions done without expectation. You can't measure it day to day, but it builds relentlessly. It's the reason someone trains for years before the first visible result and then seems to grow unstoppable overnight. It's never overnight. It's the slow, silent build-up of unwavering commitment. Think of a bow being drawn back. The tension feels unbearable. The motion backward looks like regression. But that tension is potential energy waiting to be released. The more patient you are in the pull, the farther the arrow will fly. Your slow progress is that pull. The frustration you feel is the resistance required to store power. When the release comes, when the breakthrough finally happens, it won't feel like a miracle. It will feel like confirmation. You'll realize that nothing was wasted. The long nights, the self-doubt, the solitude, all of it was preparation. The slow pace wasn't delaying you, it was defining you. So if you're in that quiet stage now where nothing seems to move, stay steady. The shift is happening beneath the surface. Momentum doesn't always roar, sometimes it whispers. But those who learn to hear it know, the moment you refuse to stop, everything starts to align. The breakthrough isn't coming, it's already building inside you. Becoming unstoppable isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. It's not about constant confidence or relentless speed. It's about persistence that outlives failure, doubt, and fatigue. The truth is, you don't wake up one day unstoppable. You build it quietly through every moment you wanted to give up and didn't. This stage of transformation is subtle. It doesn't feel like triumph, it feels like peace. The same challenges that once triggered frustration now meet silence. The same obstacles that used to shake your resolve now feel like training. You've stopped fighting the pace of your journey and started flowing with it. That's the shift, when control moves from circumstance to mindset. You start to understand that discipline is not punishment, it's freedom. Because when you master discipline, you no longer depend on emotion to move. You can act with purpose even when you feel nothing. That's strength. That's what makes you unshakable in a world addicted to quick results and emotional highs. You've traded excitement for endurance, and endurance always wins. The unstoppable version of you doesn't move faster, they move differently. They've burned through the illusions of shortcuts and hacks. They don't chase balance, they create it through clarity. They've learned that the goal was never perfection, but alignment. Every failure becomes data, every setback becomes training. They no longer see obstacles as signs to turn back, but as weights designed to build resilience. When you reach this stage, you realize something profound. Slow progress was never the delay. It was the design. The hardships, the pauses, the endless repetition, all of it was sculpting the person capable of carrying the success that's coming. Fast progress can build results, but slow progress builds identity. And identity outlasts everything. You've become dangerous in the best way. Calm, patient, certain. You no longer need the world to believe in you because you've learned to believe in yourself. You move with quiet confidence, not to prove, but to express what you've already become. That's when people start to notice the strength you built in silence. They call it talent, they call it luck, but you'll know it was neither. It was time, discipline, and the willingness to keep walking when no one else would. The unstoppable person isn't fearless. They've simply learned to move through fear. They're not unbreakable. They've just broken and rebuilt so many times that breaking no longer scares them. That's what this journey has been preparing you for. Not perfection, but persistence. Not recognition, but peace. Not applause, but mastery. So when the world calls you unstoppable, remember what that really means. It means you've outlasted distraction, defeated self-doubt, and silenced the part of you that once begged for comfort. You've become the kind of person who doesn't wait for momentum. You are momentum. There comes a day when you look back and realize that the slow path was the only one that could have made you this strong. Every delay, every unseen effort, every silent season, they were not wasted years. They were the groundwork for the person you've become. The strength you now carry didn't appear overnight. It was earned in silence, through every small act of endurance that once felt meaningless. You begin to understand that slow progress was never failure. It was refinement. It taught you patience, stripped you of illusion, and revealed what truly matters. The quick victories others chased have long faded, but what you built through struggle remains. You have become someone who no longer fears waiting, someone who knows that time is not your enemy when you use it with purpose. The world glorifies speed, but it's the slow builders who last. The ones who accept that mastery takes years, not weeks. The ones who keep moving when applause fades. The ones who let failure mature them instead of define them. You have paid the price of becoming unstoppable, and that price was patience. There's a quiet power in knowing that you no longer need to prove yourself. You've seen what happens when you stay, when you trust the process long enough to see its truth. You've walked through doubt and kept going. You've faced silence and learned to listen. You've watched others rush ahead and realized that real strength isn't built in movement. It's built in endurance. Now you move differently. You don't rush the process. You respect it. You don't seek validation. You seek growth. You no longer chase success. You embody it through how you show up every day. The slow progress that once frustrated you has become your foundation. It taught you resilience, humility, and focus. It built a version of you that can't be shaken by circumstance or failure. And as you stand here, you see the truth. The journey was never about speed. It was about becoming someone who could walk through fire and remain calm. Someone who could face the unknown without fear. Someone who understands that consistency outlives intensity and patience outlasts talent. You are proof that slow progress works, that persistence has power, that silence can be sacred. Every unseen effort, every lonely night, every quiet decision not to give up, they've all led you here. The climb was steep, the pace was slow, but the view from this height was worth every step. So, take a breath. Look at how far you've come. This was never failure. It was the making of something unshakable. You.